Hello and welcome to this Wisdom for Confident and Fluent English in 1 Year series, where you practice your listening skills, which, by the way, is the secret ingredient to fluent English, reading out loud, and engagement with wholesome content that is not only good for your brain, but also for your body, emotions, and overall well-being. Healthy mind, healthy body, healthy English. Are you ready? Let's get started. If you haven't done so yet, help me with the algorithm and give me a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the channel and invite the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video, which will be relevant to you if you're looking to become more confident, fluent, and proficient in English. And if you're new here, my name is Tanya Meyer, and I'm an English as a foreign language teacher to adults, operating from the intersection between efficient language acquisition and use, the practice of raising awareness, and increasing our overall levels of happiness and well-being. What's not to love, right? Another word for awareness-raising practices is mindfulness. And mindfulness is the practice of stopping and looking more deeply within me and around me in the present moment, which is instrumental in bringing clarity and understanding to our lives. And it is from here, from a place of calm and spaciousness, that we can really transform our English skills. Have you ever heard the expression, every cloud has a silver lining? It's a common idiomatic expression in English that means that every bad or unpleasant situation holds the possibility of something good. Another way to see it is to understand that everything that we perceive as bad or negative or unpleasant holds a very valuable lesson for us, and we can learn to look at discomfort as a very precious and valuable teacher in our life. Today we'll be reading text number 10 in the book Your True Home, The Everyday Wisdom of Thich Nhat Hanh, Zen master, peace activist, poet, writer, and founder of the Plum Village tradition. Remember that we're reading from a secular perspective. What can this text teach me about my life? How can it help me? And that we're practicing reading short texts out loud with the intention of producing natural sounding English. And when we do this, and we're able to follow along and read together with somebody who's reading and modeling the text for you, then this carries over into whatever situation and context you're in, and you're better able to produce more fluent English because you've been practicing with these features of the English language. We read together twice. The first time, simply to understand what the text is saying, and then to focus on form, the way the text is put together. This is text number 10, and it's called The Lotus in the Mud. Are you familiar with lotuses? One lotus, two lotuses. We need that extra syllable, and I'll explain why at the end of the video, so stay with me. And remember to read out loud. Practice using your English mouth and brain and voice. Think of it as a recital. Use your vocal cords. Okay? And most importantly, enjoy. Here we go. 10. Lotus in the mud. The goodness of suffering is something real. Without suffering, there cannot be happiness. Without mud, there cannot be any lotus flowers. So if you know how to suffer, suffering is okay. And the moment you have that attitude, you don't suffer much anymore. And out of suffering, a lotus flower of happiness can grow. Okay, we're going to read this again, but I hope you realize how priceless this text is. Basically, it's teaching us how to suffer less. I don't know about you, but anybody who can teach me how to suffer less is someone I want to listen to. What about you? Does using English make you suffer in any way? Does it bring discomfort, anxiety, stress, frustration when you try and use it? Let's read again and see how this metaphor of mud and flower can help you make your English blossom and flower beautifully and bring you great joy. After this second reading, I'll share some of my reflections, and you are more than invited to do the same. Join the conversation in the comments below with your own thoughts, ideas, and associations. Okay, so here we go. Read out loud now. 10. Lotus in the mud. The goodness of suffering is something real. Without suffering, there cannot be happiness. Without mud, there cannot be any lotus flowers. So if you know how to suffer, suffering is okay. And the moment you have that attitude, you don't suffer much anymore. And out of suffering, a lotus flower of happiness can open. What are your difficulties and how do you manage them as you move towards more confident and fluent English? Do you have a similar saying to every cloud has a silver lining in your own language? Practice your writing skills and share your thoughts in the comments below. Here are some of my reflections. As an English as a foreign language teacher to adults, my main purpose in creating these videos is to understand your difficulties and challenges better so that I can think of more and more creative and effective ways of helping you overcome them so that you can be successful in whatever you do that requires English. Your English doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be clear. You need to know what you want to say or write. Clarity needs to be there before you speak or write. One of the great advantages of joining my coaching program, whether you are already taking formal English lessons either at a language school or with a private teacher, is that difficulties and challenges are shared and different ways of managing them are suggested not only by myself but by the whole community. And I love that so much. What this means for you is that you get customized feedback on whatever aspect of English you feel you might need at that moment. So it's relevant and applicable to whatever is happening in your personal or professional context. Also, what happens is that most of us believe that our difficulties are ours alone, that nobody understands, or that there must be something wrong with us, because everyone else seems to be doing fine and we're stuck, we're frustrated. We just can't make any progress. It's us. And to make matters worse, we don't want anybody else to know because we don't want to be perceived as incompetent or weak. And this is the main reason why sharing circles are being incorporated more and more in mainstream education, including my English training program. So if you're an adult professional looking to improve your English beyond B1 or even B2 levels towards C1 or even C2 proficiency level, make sure you check the link in the description box below about how to apply for my program. You see, learning how to manage difficulty is the best we can aspire to. This is something I learned when I was studying psychoanalysis. There are two main branches of what is known as mental health. There is psychosis. Psychosis is when you've lost touch with reality. And so people who have psychotic episodes need to be treated with medication, or they need to be monitored more closely. And then there is neurosis. Neurosis is when you haven't lost touch with reality, but you have a lot of problems. Well, that's the best we can aspire to, is to be as unneurotic as possible. But neurosis is definitely going to be a part of our life. There's no perfection. There's no term for anything that's better than neurosis in psychoanalysis. So in English language learning, the best we can aspire to is having sufficient awareness to self-correct, having sufficient awareness to manage difficulty and challenge as we move forward, because difficulty and challenge will be there. And so when it comes to using English, the priority in my community is to create a safe environment in which members can feel that they're able to share their difficulties and challenges, as well as listen to the difficulties and challenges of others, because we never know when something we have done can be helpful to somebody else. But that's not all. My community is also about celebrating our achievements and sharing our joy. So many people being accepted to top-level English-speaking universities to study a master's or even a PhD, or receiving an offer for their dream job with a much higher salary that provides them the freedom they've been looking for, to spend more time with friends, family, pets, or move to a quieter neighborhood, or have space and time for their favorite hobby or sport, go traveling and explore the world. And finally, why do we say one chair, two chairs, one door, two doors, but one lotus, two lotuses? There's a very simple reason. And it is that lotus, the singular form, already ends in the sound that we want to add. S. And so we cannot pluralize if the sound at the end of that singular word is already s. So we cannot say one lotus, two lotus. It's the same thing. So we need to say one lotus, two lotuses. 3 syllables there. We need to divide the word and add a syllable to make it plural. And there are other English sounds that we cannot add s to, because there's a conflict. There's a mechanical conflict in our mouth, and we cannot add s to these sounds because they're very close by. They have similar characteristics. So when a word finishes in any of these sounds and we want to add s to pluralize, or to create the possessive form, or to conjugate in the third person singular, we need to add the extra syllable. And these sounds are z, as in prize. 1 prize, 2 prizes. Another sound is j, like bridge. We say 1 bridge, 2 bridges, or 1 judge, 2 judges. Another sound is sh, as in wish. We cannot say wish, can't do it. So it needs to be 1 wish, 2 wishes. Wish, wishes. So we have z, we have j, we have z, and the final one is ch, as in watch. Watch. 1 watch, 2 watches. knowing this little rule of pronunciation and understanding that it isn't something random, I mean that there's a reason why it exists, brings understanding and trust, which in turn leads to more confident and fluent English, because we won't make that mistake again. One English, two Englishes, because English finishes in sh, and so does finish. Finishes, third person singular conjugation. Finish, finishes. And so knowing these rules, as I was saying, produces more confident and produces. You see, there it is again. Produce, produces, because produce, the verb, already finishes in the letter, in the sound s. So knowing these rules produces more confident and fluent English. And using English confidently and fluently can only open doors for you. So if you're ready to make progress at a deeper level, become a more confident person, interact with some amazing people, receive customized feedback and support, make sure you check out the link in the description box about my ongoing English training program. Listen to the testimonials from real people making a huge impact in the world. And if it sounds like this is something you want and need, then apply for a consultation call. And remember to download a copy of my free guide, How to Revolutionize Your English, 8 Steps for Success, filled with tips and strategies for you to put into practice straight away, to learn how to give yourself motivation and direction towards confidence and fluency. And I'll see you in the next one. Remember to invite the bell to be notified when I upload it. See you then. Take very good care. Bye for now.